Okay, so here we are, guys, on Calm Before the Storm in the top left-hand corner. We have our blue Protoss player hailing from Team Liquid. He is HerO. And his opponent and our reigning Fight Club champion is in the bottom left-hand corner. Our red Terran player, that is NSHS.Jjakji. Now, if you guys remember, you said we typically get a lot of longer games here. We've had some very, very close and good TVPs on this map lately. We've also had some interesting ones. If you remember Thorzane versus Naniwa in the winners round 1 of Team Arena Challenge.
That's true. That did end up being kind of an interesting game. But generally what this map is known for, especially in like the GSL too, and a lot of the games that we've seen, like you mentioned, are longer, well thought out macro games. And I'd like to see that type of thing from these two players. Hopefully we do. We'll have to wait and see. But generally this is a map that Protoss does like. I mean, HerO did pick it for a reason. It's a good map for things like Templar tech. You can make Storms be very effective. Obviously with the narrower running lanes, Colossi are quite effective as well. And it just seems like it's generally easier for Protoss to sort of zone out the Terran and take a lot of bases on this map if they get in a good position in the early game.
And we actually have gas first coming out of Jjakji at the moment, so Barracks slapping down right after that. And we'll see what sort of tech he decides to jump into in the beginning of this game. He used Banshees to a degree in the last one. We'll see if he wants to switch it up this go-around. HerO, nothing out of the ordinary quite yet. Starting to scout, though, wants a good read on where his opponent's going to be.
Yeah, he could. The thing is for a while it was if you saw the Terran take gas, you'd have to worry about some sort of early one-base thing because 2 racks wasn't being used for a while, and all the expand builds were gasless for a long time. But Terrans have really started to switch it up. They've started to do a lot of expanding builds with gas now. You know, it's been Cloak Banshee expand after 1 barracks. It's obviously been something like Marine Tank Banshee if you're Nada. It's been like 2 racks again we've seen a lot. So Protoss is in a position where they just are a little bit out of the loop in the early game. They don't really know what to expect, and Jjakji is one of the players that's been really kind of taking advantage of that as well, and it's cool to see kind of a return to a lot of varied openings for Terran. I mean, for a while,
I like it.
You just died too early to those big gateway 2-base things. You know, if you go for the gasless expand, I think that's kind of what prompted some of the change for Terrans.
And we already have a reactor coming out on this barracks as well. Now, thankful for Jjakji that HerO is actually going to scout his opponent last. He went to the wrong direction, and the Marine going to head its way up. Well, no, actually just stopping on the outside. Wants to make sure that that probe is not going, to get in there at the moment. Jjakji actually going to scout his opponent very quickly at about the same time that HerO will scout him.
Is he going to catch it? Yep, there's the probe. He has some micro against it. Looks like he should just, barely not get it.
Right.
Not going to get in the base, though. So at least HerO knows it's not like a really fast command center on the low ground, but, you know, for all he knows, there could be another command center in the high ground.
And it is just a starport. So he's starting to produce 1 Hellion, a few Marines at a time. May decide to do some fairy play here in a bit with a medevac, but we have a 1 Zealot making its way down now with a Stalker. There's not a lot out for Jjakji, but it looks like he has enough up in good enough position to be able to hold off these 2 units.
Yeah, this can sometimes be a little bit of a scary poke for Terran. I mean, it's something that can be tough to micro against a Hellion. It's going to be worth its weight in gold there. Oh, yeah, and with 2 Hellions out, he's going to be just fine against that. But just look at how fast that Zealot tore through those Marines. It's so scary if you don't have what it takes to deal with this when you see that Zealot and the Stalker coming through your ramp in the early game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Jjakji just continuing to pressure with these Hellions as well. Just going to go ahead and make sure that he traps that Stalker as long as it's necessary. 1 Hellion goes down, though, so a little bit of a miscontrol there from Jjakji, but he's running up with his Marines now.
Yep.
And that Stalker going to back away. It looks like it was a 1-gate expand for HerO. He is expanding to the low ground. However, we have a medevac coming up, and it's rallying its unit all the way across the map.
Yeah, really fast drops coming in for Jjakji, actually. It looks like he wants to drop Hellions into the base, which is something that can be quite effective against Protoss in the early game. Might decide to throw some Marines in there, too, it looks like.
Yeah, he's only got the 1 Hellion left right now. There should be, eventually, I would imagine, some more making their way out. There we go. There's the second one. But doesn't have anything inside of the medevac quite yet. We'll see if he just gives it for vision or if he's going to try and skirt his way around the units. There are quite a few units up for HerO at the moment, though.
I don't know how well this is going to work. We'll have to see. He's going to actually, whoa, really bold move there.
Yeah.
Almost dropping the Marines right up on the high ground. You know, with no Zealots, I suppose that's okay. Oh, swapping out a Marine for a couple Hellions. It's going around the outside, but HerO is ready for it. He's also got a Stargate on the way, which is something that Jjakji will need to worry about in a moment.
Yes. And yeah, a nice job by HerO, though, to just shut down these drops and play defensively. Oh, but it looks like he is able to get onto the high ground. One of those sentries have gone down. Second falls as well. The Stalkers from the low ground are going to need to run themselves back, and it looks like they are going to do so. Medevac is forced to pull away with these very hurt Hellions, but HerO does lose both of his sentries. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a situation where your Protoss opponent doesn't make that many Stalkers, you know, if they have a lot of Zealots and Sentries instead, that's when that type of drop can really, really be devastating, just because you can kill those lighter units so quickly.
Interesting out of Jjakji, he actually, did he just scan and see a Stargate? Because he was producing a Banshee. He was unfortunately supply blocked, but then he canceled the Banshee and just swapped out and threw a barracks down onto the tech lab. So doesn't look like he's seen what his opponent is doing quite yet, though.
Yeah, he didn't really have the money for Cloak, and having Banshees go up against Phoenixes is never a very fair fight for the Banshee.
No.
So very understandable that he would choose to switch that over.
And once again, HerO playing defensively, and he is going to intercept this drop before he can do too much damage.
Yep.
And we'll see if Jjakji decides to press with this. One Stalker is bouncing away. He'll come back here in just a second. No, it looks like Jjakji, okay, lowered down one unit, moved away before that Medevac got killed. Let's see what both players are investing in. We have 3 more barracks coming up now for Jjakji, along with an engineering bay. Of course, he already has the starport out. His opponent, on the other hand, Twilight Council, a couple of gateways, and some forges.
Yeah, I'll have to see kind of where he decides to go into this. It could just be more upgrades. It's a good map for getting a lot of upgrades, or he could be going into 2-base Templar as well. That's something that's been very popular in PvT in Korea these days. But Jjakji, I just love how he's playing this. I mean, he's moving into a very standard mid-game, just going Marine, Marauder, Medevac. But just this early drop pressure, this very early like Marine, Hellion drop pressure is just so cool. I mean, obviously with the Phoenixes out, it's very risky to do now. In fact, he's actually going to lose his Medevac, but or maybe not. But it's a cool way to open. I think it's very unique and awesome.
One way or another, this drop is done for, though. Whether he kills Phoenixes in the meantime, I mean, there are units coming up now for HerO as well. Guardian Shield, not really protecting anything, loses a Stalker there. He does manage to take down the Medevac, and these Marines are going to have to just run back home.
Yep, and they're going to eventually get caught up by the Stalkers, but
yes,
they'll try at least.
And looks like they're going to come back and try and pick off. They do actually get a Zealot, but they're not going to be able to get the Sentry, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see here. The Phoenixes are revealed, however. Looks like they're just going to move in and try and pick off a bunch of Marines, but there is a missile turret up as well. They're going to have to watch out, but a nice shot picking off, what, 4 Marines there, so.
Yeah, HerO taking some significant damage on a couple of those Phoenixes, but does manage to keep them alive, which does help a little bit. And he's going to have Blink and +1 armor soon, which is going to be a very strong early composition against this Bioforce, too. Whoa, he does need to be careful with those Phoenixes, though, of course.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But now he can pick off a couple of supply depots from the low ground, which is so annoying as a Terran player to try and take that. However, there's a lot of units on the field for Jjakji, and HerO has to make sure he doesn't overcommit here. Otherwise, very bad things will happen to that army very quickly.
Yeah, I would say so. He's also taking his 3rd Nexus right now, which is a really cool way to do it. Oh, the Viking is going to get taken out.
Yes,
but,
it is.
Man, all those Phoenixes, so many of them. 3 of them at low health. Make that 2 because one of them died.
Yes.
Yeah, he's obviously not planning on staying on Phoenixes for the long term.
No, not at all. He does have that Templar Archives coming up that you were alluding to before, but this is coming with a 3rd base, as we can see that he is expanding. Blink just finishes up, though, so he may decide to try and pick off a couple more units and then blink away. But he is reinforcing with a ton of Stalkers at the moment. And that 3rd base certainly going to help his economy quite a bit, but these Stalkers are just being so annoying, and I don't think he's given away that he has Blink quite yet. He's got to watch out, though. Half the units are actually trapped. A few of them getting picked back up into Medevacs at the moment, but one Medevac does go down, so HerO causes a little bit of damage, took a little bit of his own, but he is effectively preventing this next base from coming up for quite some time. Yeah,
HerO definitely, or Jjakji was definitely taken a little bit by surprise by the Blink, I feel. Normally, he wouldn't want to move down that into Blink Stalkers, of course, but he didn't know that it was there. Now he does. He'll be a little bit more careful. Liquid HerO has Jjakji pretty nicely contained, though, right now.
Yeah, definitely. This third base now for HerO is saturated, so he's receiving that economic benefit, and his overall mining is going to go up quite a bit here in a second once he starts officially triple producing probes as well. So Jjakji trying to finally assert himself and move out into the middle of the map. Oh, these medevacs really have to watch out. Looks like one is going to fall. Looks like at the cost of one Phoenix. But those Phoenixes have certainly done their job containing his opponent and picking off air units.
Yeah, down to just 4 medevacs. Those Phoenixes are just there to make the Templar more effective later in the game. I mean, the more medevacs they kill now, the better that Storm is going to be for Liquid HerO at the later point in the game. That's kind of the whole point of this. It's a very cool way to do it, too. But, yeah, I mean, just look at HerO right now. I mean, he's able to kind of expand and upgrade at will at the moment. It looks like Jjakji will eventually take his third base, but he will be a bit behind. I've got a feeling, though, once those ghosts come out, we're going to see a bit of a push come out from Jjakji. He knows that he's going to need to get some sort of damage done at this point.
Right, and it looks like he is starting to assert himself on the map now. He broke out of that contain, now moving up, but you can see already what you were alluding to before. This one medevac is very strained at the moment. Yeah. There are a few that have finally reinforced from the back now, so we can push out, but you would figure that he would have at least a few more in an army of this size.
Yep, I mean, keep in mind, too, what feedback does to medevacs as well. That helps quite a bit. At the same time, though, Jjakji does have some ghosts out right now. He's going to have some EMPs by the time these armies engage. So HerO, you know, is definitely not in any sort of, like, unbeatable situation right now. He still needs to micro very, very well, needs to control his Templar, keep them safe in the engagement that's coming up. Otherwise, he could find himself on the losing end of the game as well. But so many upgraded Zelds with charge are going to help a lot, man. They're going to be microing against everything. The ghosts might get caught trying to get ahead to catch the Templars. So HerO set himself up kind of as best as he can to take this on. Yeah. It's just down to control now.
And Jjakji still hasn't started mining off of that third quite yet, but it looks like we may have that big engagement up at the front. You're right. Those charge lots are actually very, very well upgraded as well. Those Templar are all very high energy. There's not a ton of them right now, so if they get EMP'd, it would be devastating, but they will have enough to lay down a couple of Storm EMPs.
Ghosts.
Ghosts are up at the front, and there we're going to see some EMPs in a second, but nice feedbacks hitting. However, the EMPs do eventually hit the rest of the Templar, so we're going to see if HerO can continue to push this. Oh, sniping out the one remaining Templar that had some energy left on it. Looks like another one was sitting on the bottom as well. There's a big Storm, and that's what we were looking for. Charge lots making their way to the front right now. Jjakji actually taking some pretty significant losses, but he has battled back pretty effectively so far.
Yeah, he did a really good job of splitting up his units. He did EMP most of the Templars, so while he did still get stormed and lose a lot of units, he's still looking a little bit stronger, but he's going to need to pull back now that those reinforcements have warped in.
So both players drawing themselves a bit to an bit even, actually,
bit
right
of
there.
Still at the moment.
Yeah, both players are now sitting pretty firmly on 3 bases. We have Robotics Bay coming up now for HerO as well, so he will be able to throw in some Colossi in just a bit. His upgrades are very, very good. He's just about to finish +3 armor, and he has +3 weapons on the way as well. Take a look at the upgrades for his opponent. Just 1-1 finished up for Jjakji.
Yeah. So Liquid HerO doing a pretty typical transition into Colossi, like you mentioned. And that's something that, again, it's a kind of a bit of a test for Jjakji, just to see if he's kind of up on where things are at in this game. He should start making Vikings fairly soon here. Maybe use a scan in the main base just to kind of make sure that HerO is going for it. But at this point in the game, the Terran would kind of be expecting the Colossus transition a lot of times. I got to say that last engagement, too, was pretty well done by both players. I mean, some feedbacks were done on the Ghosts to kind of prevent that. And some EMPs were done pretty well on the Templar.
Good sniping, too.
Yeah, things kind of ended up pretty even up. But it may not last for too much longer, though. I mean, the third base for Liquid HerO has been up for quite a bit longer. He's got better upgrades. And so far, no Vikings really being produced yet by Jjakji. He's going to need to start making them soon, otherwise these Colossi are going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I really think that's a good point. We have Personal Cloaking coming up with a ton of ghosts, so he's going to have a powerful army to deal with gateway units, but maybe he just... Oh, wow. A Storm actually hitting a considerable number of forces there. Ghost now being pulled to the front. There is the snipe we were expecting, but HerO not committing right now, just maybe even just reinforcing to his opponent that he's only on gateway units at the moment. Let's take a look at Jjakji, what he's seen. He does not know about the Robo Bay quite yet.
Yeah, doesn't quite know that it's out there.
Yeah.
I wonder where the Warp Prism went for HerO. I saw him make one. I wonder if he is going to use that for his High Templar, just to kind of keep them safe, or if he's going to try to do some sort of harassment with a nice Storm to kind of zone things out.
Very good. Yeah, it affected quite a few units, and there's still not many medevacs out, and they're all getting very, very low in energy.
Yeah, medevac's still being made by Jjakji as well, so these Colossi could do some damage here.
This is very well-played game from both sides. You said it before in the engagement, but Jjakji just being able to break out of his contain and start equalizing all the way to HerO maintaining base advantages. This has been a fun, very back-and-forth game to watch.
Yeah, I have no idea who's going to win this one. I feel like HerO, despite the fact that he's retreating right now, has a bit of a lead being on 4 bases. But again, in TVP in the late game, when the supplies are even, it comes down so much to positioning, engaging, and that is not a good position for those Colossi.
No, not at all, not at all. But good storms do hesitate for long enough,
probes.
so maybe it's going to allow HerO the chance to get back. But Jjakji's committing right now. If he can pick off these Colossi, it would be devastating. But the storms are being so effective right now for Jjakji. Units coming in through the back now. The Ghosts were all cloaked and sitting back there, but more storms are just devastating Jjakji's army, and he is caught completely in a pincer. He's going to try and pick up, but those medevacs are getting picked off very quickly.
Those Colossi are going to need to take those Templar out and buy them a really nice lobster dinner because they kept them alive, man. I mean, those storms are the only thing that kept the bio back from killing those 2 Colossi in a pretty embarrassing way. But yeah, as you can see here, Liquid HerO, between the upgrades and the AoE that he's got, just really didn't have a whole lot of a hard time handling that army from Jjakji.
Yeah, good delay maneuvers, though. You said it. Those Templar are just keeping everything alive at the moment. Looks like one just kind of silently falls down, but the Colossi are doing the rest of the damage. There's the GG, and things are tied up now. HerO and Jjakji 1-1 going into game number 3.